Hello, hello. Today we have a mid fade, mid drop fade. We're gonna start off with the 4 guard open, debulk the sides, and then use your 2 guard open to debulk under that. I'm not going past the parietal ridge. Notice how I flick out once I get up to that parietal ridge area. Now I'm gonna use my clipper over a comb to debulk the overhanging hairs. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm very rusty. Very, very rusty. I don't even know what words mean anymore. Now we're gonna use the thinning shears to blend in what we just clip it over comb because precision is always the best. Some people think you don't have to go over certain things and it's a waste of time, but for me, I like to be precise and I like to double check the same areas. I don't care how many times I go over it, I have to make sure everything is cut evenly so that the fade comes out smooth. Now we're gonna start our bald line. I start in the back. I find the occipital bone in the back, and then I start just below it, and then I connect it right above the ear. I start on the other side above the ear, and then connect the two lines. I use the guard close because it's not a harsh line with just the trimmers, and then I just come behind it with the trimmers, and eventually the shavers to give it a nice bald, smooth feel. You want to make sure that this line, this first guideline, is straight because it will set your fade up for the rest of the fade. Make sure you cut every hair. You don't want to be rough. Some barbers are very rough back here, especially the neck area. It's very sensitive. You don't want to be rough when using your trimmers. You want it to be flat, parallel to the head, and just, you know, drag the clipper up and down. You don't have to press hard. You don't have to try that hard. Let the clipper do the work for you. Same with the shavers. Let the shavers do the work for you. I don't go all the way up to that line. I stop just under the guideline that I made before with the shavers because if I go up to that line, it'll be too bald. I've done that before. It looks terrible. Now we're going to do the 1.5 guard close first to set that soft guideline and then open it right back up to fade it into that 2 open above that area. We're still debulking, so we're fading from higher numbers to lower numbers. That's the most elementary way I could put it. I start with the bald guideline though to give myself a foundation, and then I just go from bigger numbers to smaller numbers for the rest of the cut. Basically, it's real simple. Now I'm using the 2 guard just to blend in. This is what I said before about precision, going over things that I've gone over before, just to make sure all the hairs are even in that area. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. You don't want to wait till the end to have to course correct and you've messed up already. Now I'm gonna use the no guard open to create the next guideline. Not too wide, probably like half an inch. Make sure that's even as well. And we're gonna fade right into the top with the half guard closed or the half guard open and then close it. You're gonna have to use some corners here. You're gonna have to play with the lever here. It all depends on the hair texture and the hair type. Remember to pay attention to the way the hair is growing. I'm cutting up and down because the hair is growing up and down. Say if the hair was growing left to right, I'm gonna have to be cutting left to right. So the way the hair is growing depends on how my clipper is moving. Same with the comb because my client here, his hair is a little more fine and straight on the sides. I'm not gonna have to use. It's actually thicker on the sides. I'm not gonna have to use the comb as much because it's already there. But say it was longer, I'd be using my comb every other clipper stroke. So now I'm doing some. Basically, I'm almost done at this point with the half guard and now with the no guard, detailing what the guideline I just used. Now for here, I don't use the whole blade. I'm using my corners to make sure that I get all the little kinks and the dark spots out of there. And the fade's basically done. Now we just use the no guard close first to get rid of that line, and then I go halfway a little bit and then opening it up all the way. It's very simple. I know I probably made it look easier than it actually is, but when you follow this step system of debulking and going from bigger numbers to smaller numbers, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you to follow. It's very easy to get it right. Um, Now it takes years to master it, but it's very elementary, the actual steps to do it. This is why so many people want to cut hair now, because they think it looks easy, but once you actually stand behind the clippers and see what it's like, then you might hesitate to want to become a barber. But it's fun and I love it, and I love making people's day and changing their 2 weeks, because usually the haircuts last 2 weeks. I love making their 2 weeks. It's a great job, and I love doing it, and I'm highly blessed and very grateful to be able to do this for a living. Now the final touch is just the trimmers. This you probably got to be really soft with. I'm only using the corners. I don't have to use too much. If I use the whole blade, I might risk bringing the fade up, and that's the last thing we want to do. I remember when I was coming up, I used to bring the fade up all the time with my techniques and my steps. So that's why I changed my steps to the way they are now, with the down fading and the debulking, because it makes the room for error a lot bigger. When you fade upwards, the room for error is a lot smaller, because it's hard to course correct darkness. If you go too short, too high, you're gonna have to bring the whole fade up. Versus if you're starting longer and going lower, you're not at risk of bringing the fade up. So it's a lot simpler to not mess up. You can still mess up. We're not perfect, but it's a lot simpler to not mess up when trying to fade. Same steps for the beard. His beard is also a little more finer, so it's not too difficult. And we're gonna put some hairspray in the hairline, blow dry it cold air, and brush it down to prep it for the shape up. This is real simple. I highly suggest using the mirror to help you with the hairline. Looking straight at it is good too, but the mirror will not lie. The mirror never lies, and using the mirror will greatly benefit you to getting that shape up correct. Now, if you're doing a house call or something, I may just take a picture or something. The camera does not lie either. So you gotta have a second set of eyes. Your eyes aren't always the best eyes. You gotta have a second set of eyes to be able to see the finer details and the little imperfections in your haircut. The flaws stand out on the camera. The flaws stand out in the mirror. So utilizing those tools will really help you bring your fades and haircuts to that next level. Like I said about precision, I'm going over it as much as I have to. It's not like I'm doing it for no reason, but to the untrained eye, it may look like I'm just going over it over and over again for no reason. I remember getting a haircut as a kid and wondering why a barber was on my right side of the temple the whole time, not realizing that he was doing a taper and he was fading on that side. That's just the way it is. The barbers are going to be on one spot for a while, and that's the way it's got to be. So now I'm using a kiss tintation to give him a little bit of a pop for the enhancements. Not too much. You want it to look natural. And here's the before. Boom. Here's the after. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Share with your friends if you want to. Peace out and have a great day.